We're going to be reading Chapter 5 from Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. This is Chapter 5. Waking as Edward Hyde scared me. The change had come without the drug. But how? I remembered the first time that Edward Hyde had appeared. He was small and weak. But of late, he had been growing stronger, much stronger, strong enough to get rid of the sleeping Henry Jekyll. Hyde was growing stronger and more evil. This too scared me. And so I made a promise. No more magic drug. No more Mr. Edward Hyde. Ever. I put away Hyde's clothes. I hid the key to his rooms in Soho. From that moment on, I was going to be Henry Jekyll. Only Henry Jekyll. I kept my promise to live without Hyde. 2 months went by. I decided to celebrate living a good life again with a party. On the night of the party, Poole looked very happy. "I must say, sir," he said, "it is good to have your friends here once again." "Yes, Poole," I replied. "I have not seen them for a long time." Poole showed in Utterson, Dr. Lanyon, and several others. We had a pleasant dinner. At one point, Lanyon stood up. He raised his glass to me. "It is good to see you again, Henry," he said. "You have been keeping to yourself for too long." "True," I said. "I have missed you too. From now on, things will be different." "Different, eh?" Lanyon went on. "Does that mean you have given up those ideas of yours?" He laughed and turned to Utterson. "Do you remember, Utterson? Henry thought he had discovered a great secret. He thought that he could separate man into two parts, a good part and a bad part." "I remember," said Utterson. I looked long into the fire. At last I looked up at Lanyon. "Yes, Lanyon," I said, "I have given up those ideas." Inside, I felt angry. My ideas were right. Yet Lanyon was still laughing at me. I had given up being Edward Hyde, but still, I was right. Utterson pulled out his pocket watch. "It's past 10, he said. "I must be going. I have to see our friend Carew. He wants me to draw up some papers for him." Lanyon stood up. "Well, I must get home too, Henry. Thank you so much for the fine dinner. We will have to do it again soon, at my house." I showed the men to the door. I smiled as I said goodbye. But inside, I was filled with anger. No sooner was the door closed than I turned to Poole. "I will be working late in my lab tonight," I told him. "I must be left alone." Away, I hurried to my lab. My promise meant nothing to me now. Do I need to tell you what I did there? How I poured the powder into the red liquid? My hand shook. I was so eager, I had to be careful not to spill it, for I did not have much of the powder left. The red liquid began to boil. When the smoke cleared, I swallowed the drug. I gasped. Henry Jekyll was disappearing, gone, and there was Edward Hyde. And what a Hyde! For 2 months I had kept this evil animal caged inside me. Now he was out with the anger of 100 howling monsters. I got out of Hyde's clothes and threw them on. They were not so loose now. In those 2 months, Hyde had grown bigger and stronger. I burst out into the quiet London night. As I raced down the street, I saw someone coming toward me. It was an old man. His white hair looked like a halo in the moonlight. He came closer, and I saw that it was Sir Danvers Carew, going, I guessed, to meet Utterson. The old man smiled at me, and then he stopped. I looked into his eyes. Such kind eyes. He asked me directions, smiling as he spoke. Here was a man as good and trusting as a child. His goodness made me even more angry. I don't know why, but it did. As he talked, I raised my cane and hit him full in the face. The look in his eyes filled me with a twisted joy. Again I hit him, and again and again. With every blow, I grew more excited. I kept hitting the old man until there was no life in him. And even then, I did not stop. The thrill of killing had me in its hold. Then suddenly I heard a scream. I looked back at my house. At one of the windows I saw my maid, Amanda. She had been watching. She had seen it all. "Police!" she cried. "Help! Someone help! A murder! A most terrible murder!" With one last blow that broke my cane, I left Carew. I looked up at the window again. My maid was still there, screaming. Lights were going on in other houses. Soon there would be many people on the street. "There is the killer!" Amanda screamed. "There, stop him! Stop that man! I know him! It is Edward Hyde!"